Hey, Joyce Vlogs. Good morning. Good afternoon. Wow. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. I do ask you to forgive me for being late. Allegedly, good afternoon, good morning. Um, Welcome to Wednesday Word. Now, Bird, good afternoon, Eddie Peeler. Looks like Sammy Rose, Cheryl Brown, China Doll, good morning. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations. Congratulations, China Doll. We're getting there. We're getting there. Monk Chip, good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Theo O'Brien, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate everybody that has come in. Everybody. I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start Wednesday Word off with a song I heard from the Pace Sisters. Leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone, leave it alone. God can handle it better than you can. Leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. God can handle it better than you can. Leave it alone. Oh, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. God can handle it so much better than you can. Oh, leave it alone. I've been hearing that song in my spirit all night. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. God can handle it so much better than we can. So leave it alone. Thank you all for allowing me to do that. Leave it alone. Now, at the outset, let me say this, because I'm not going to be very long today. But I'm going to say this. Please, for those that, are here and for those that may watch the replay, do me a favor. Do not send me any personal information on anyone on YouTube. I do not appreciate anyone sending me any personal information about people, what they do, their proclivities. That's not my business. That's not my issue. That's not my interest. And I thank you for complying. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I found something last night that I wanted to read today that, in my observation, I have noticed that goes on YouTube. And here's something that's very strange that I've also observed. I've observed that every time an individual gets close to 1,000 and gets 1,000, it always seems that there's some kind of beef or controversy that that occurs. Anybody on here that has gotten 1,000, I have observed this. I have observed that they somehow are entangled or tangled up or get involved with some kind of beef, which I think it's a ridiculous. Good afternoon, Cutie Pie, Fee O'Brien. I'm finding it really crazy, really, 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 really crazy. But such is life. Um, I guess that's how it works being on YouTube, especially in this particular sector. A lot of us has come on YouTube to share our gifts and our talents, not to fight back and forth or beef and all this kind of stuff, both to help ourselves and to help other people. And in the process, when we have misunderstandings, it seems that people insert themselves. Melancholy, how are you? Insert themselves from one side or the other to cape for the individuals, one side or the other, that they are connected to, rather than letting people handle their disagreements and whatnot, adult disagreements, together with each other. I have seen some things over the last night that caused me some deep thought, very deep thought, and caused me to reevaluate some things with my relationship with YouTube. Good afternoon, Maturus. Cynthia Jones. Good afternoon. It has caused me to reevaluate some things. Yeah, reevaluate some things and take a look again at my purpose for coming on to YouTube. Again, I came on YouTube to share and to enlighten, not to beef. But in the process, I will not be disrespected. I will not be manipulated. And when I express my experience, it is my experience. It is not the experience of the people that are on the outside. I was always taught that when two men have differences, they come together and they put everything out on the table. I've been accused of being judgmental and judging. I expressed my experience and my observation. There was no judgment involved in anything that I have said. There has been no judgment because it is what it is. And I don't have the power to change anyone. So for anyone that might have gotten the wrong impression of what I've said in this situation, let me apologize that if you got that from me, let me apologize for giving off that, that impression. I'm not judging any man. All I am saying is that as a man to another man, we should be able to talk about it without the experience being twisted, without people adding ulterior motives, without manipulation, and mostly without the consent or the push or the caping of other people to make situations worse. So at this point, beloveds, that song is my testimony for today and for this situation. As an adult male who is capable of thinking and making decisions for himself, I am not trying to change any man from who they are. So therefore, it is what it is. God can handle it much better than I can. So I leave it alone. I leave it alone. I leave it alone. One of the things that the Bible says, when you enter a city and they don't accept what you say, you enter a house and they don't accept the gift that you're giving, shake the dust off your feet as you leave that town for as a reproach against them. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave it alone because my peace is more important to me than proving a point. Because as time goes on, the points will be proven. So, Kenny Rogers said you have to know when to fold, and you have to know, not to count your money in front of strangers, or however that song goes. You have to use wisdom. Now, there is and has never been any beef with me and anyone else on YouTube. Let me say that. There is no beef, nor has there ever been any beef with me and anyone on YouTube. I have not collaborated with anyone on YouTube. Just to quell those, the murmurings and all that's been going on. Okay. Just wanted to just get that out in the beginning. Again, I've been doing, a look at me, and I don't want my good to be evil spoken of. Neither do I want to come out of character. Although people have jumped out of character. Listen, if you all could see some of the comments that I have gotten, oh man, it's amazing, how people think. Anyway, in my travels, to quote James Colwell, in my travels, I came across something, and it's very funny how sometimes, I was going through my phone to clear out some of the emails that I had on my phone, and I was going through it, and I happened to move my hand a certain way, and this email popped up. And I would like to share it with you all today. On-site April, how are you? Miss Crum, welcome. Kevin Nicholson, welcome. Patricia Ellington, it's good to see all of you. It's good to see all of you. Thank you, Maturish. Please thumbs up this video. And if you're not subscribed and you like what you hear, subscribe. Thank you. There are times when things happen to us, or we experience things, and we have second thoughts about doing what we plan to do, or sticking with the plan, if you will. We have second thoughts and we're saying, well, I'm not interested in causing a whole lot of mayhem. Nanny Poo Love, how are you? Good to see you. And we think about, shutting this device down, thanks to Maturish, shutting this device down and not just walking away until the next time, but walking away, period, because sometimes it seems like the message, the more you put it out, the more that it's not received, or people don't get it. However, you all encourage me, and I appreciate that. You all encourage me and you strengthen me. I'm strengthened by your strength, so I thank you. However, at any point, I came across this and I would like to share this with you. And as I'm reading this, I would like for you to reflect and observe, or reflect on the observations that you have made already. Good afternoon, Tracy Nelson. How are you? Hope all is well. Here we go. This is from D. Lee. He is a CFP, Harvard Financial Educators. And he says, they are still slaves. We continue to reap the profits from Blacks without the effort of any physical slavery. Look at the current methods of containment that they use on themselves: ignorance, greed, and selfishness. Their ignorance is the primary weapon of containment. A great man once said, the best way to hide something from Black people is to put it in a book. We now live in the information age. They have gained the opportunity to read any book on any subject through the efforts, through the efforts of their fights for freedom. Yet they refuse to read. There are numerous books readily available at Borders, Barnes and Nobles, and Amazon.com, not to mention their own Black bookstores that provides solid blueprints to reach economic equality, which should have been their fight all along. But few read constantly, if at all. And my phone is ringing for some reason. Now that's ignorance. Greed is another powerful weapon of containments. Blacks, since the abolition of slavery, have had large amounts of money at their disposal. Last year, they spent $10 billion during Christmas out of their $450 billion in total yearly income. That's 2.22%. Any of us can use them as our target market for any business venture we care to dream up. No matter how outlandish, they will buy into it. Being primarily a consumer people, they function totally by greed. They continually want more with little thought of saving or investing. They would rather buy some new sneaker than invest in starting a business. Some even neglect their children to have the latest Tommy or Fubu, and they still think that having a Mercedes and a big house gives them status, or that they have achieved their dream. They are fools. The vast majority of their people are still in poverty because their greed holds them back from collectively making better opportunities. With the help of BET and the rest of their black media that often broadcasts destructive images into their own homes, we all continue to see huge profits like those of Tommy and Nike. Okay? Tommy Hilfiger has even jeered them, saying he doesn't want their money. And look at how these people, our people, spend more with him than ever before. They'll continue to show off to each other while we build solid communities with the profits from our businesses that we market to them. Selfishness. Selfishness, ingrained in their minds through slavery, is one of the major ways we continue to contain them. One of their own, Du Bois, said that there was an innate division in their culture, a talented tenth, he called it. He was correct in his deduction that there are segments of their culture that has achieved some form of success. However, that segment missed the fullness of his work. They did not read the talented tenth was then responsible to aid the non-talented tenth, the 90%, in achieving a better life. Instead, that segment has created another class, a bumpy class that looks down on their people. Wow. That looks down on their people or aids their people or looks down on their people or aids their people in a condescending manner. So in other words, they look down and aid their own people in a condescending manner. They will never achieve what we have. Their selfishness does not allow them to be able to work together on any project or endeavor of substance. When they do get together, their selfishness lets their egos get in the way of their goal. Their so-called help organizations seem to only want to promote their name without having any real change in their community. They are content to sit in conferences and conventions in our hotels to talk about what they will do while they award plaques to the best speakers, not to the best doers. Is there no end to their selfishness? They steadfastly refuse to see that together each achieves more. Team. Together each achieves more. They do not understand that they are no better than each other because of what they own. As a matter of fact, most of those buppies are but one or two paychecks away from poverty, all of which is under the control of our pens in our offices and our rooms. Yes, we will continue to contain them as long as they refuse to read, continue to buy anything they want, and keep thinking they are helping their communities by paying dues to organizations which do little other than hold lavish conventions in our hotels. And he says at the very end, by the way, don't worry about any of them reading this letter. Remember, they don't read. That had a very profound effect on me last night. And it's amazing that even after I read it the first time, a couple of hours later, I went back and read it again. And I was basically up dealing with what was being said in this email. Yeah, I stayed up all night. And there's some things in here that are absolutely true. They are absolutely true. Hi, Rhea Carter. Good afternoon. Domain One. This was not a book. It was an email I received from a friend. As a matter of fact, it's an excerpt from a radio broadcast. Let me see, where is it? It was a radio broadcast on a New York radio station. It doesn't even give me what radio station it was, so I do apologize. However, this was very impactful. And I'm going to tell you something that this did for me last night, because I was feeling some type of way, because I had heard some things and seen some things being in the bushes that I guess that caused me to rethink a lot of things. Miss Leo, I'm sorry, not Miss Leo. I keep doing that. Miss Dread, good afternoon, Miss Dread. I don't know if Miss Leo is in here, but Miss Dread, good afternoon. 6 of 7, good afternoon. It caused me to rethink my position on a lot of matters that pertain to my people. And I know I'm getting into a very touchy subject. We wonder why sometimes, with looking at what's going on the internet, and we surmise as to why I'm not even gonna touch that. I'm not even gonna touch that. I'm just gonna say why our people tend to disassociate with us. What this man is talking about here is a mentality. And that's just one side of the mentality, or one perspective of a mentality, with certain words that are pertinent. Okay. He talks about greed, selfishness, and ignorance. Greed, selfishness, and ignorance. And even on here in this sector, I have witnessed our people, not all of our people, because I cannot blanket everybody, because everybody is not of this mindset. People, a lot of us are working through it. A lot of us are working through it. But a lot of the behavior is exactly what those three words describe: ignorance, greed, and selfishness. Rather than reaching selflessly to those that have not achieved what we have achieved, selflessly, without wanting something in return, without wanting public praise. And then when we come in contact with someone that is conscious, okay, that is conscious, that is not about manipulation and control, we tend to bump heads rather than sitting down at the table and having a conversation. So we war one with the other for control. I'm not in the business of controlling anyone's mind. I have 6 months to control my mind and 6 months to leave other people's minds alone. So the observation is that ignorance, greed, and selfishness. Hey, food junkie. Lady Karen, J. Dot, good afternoon. K. Got Body, good afternoon and welcome. Ignorance, selfishness, and greed. Operating in these three words will cause some level of success. Let's face it, we've seen it. We've observed it. Nanny Poo Love, good afternoon and welcome. Will bring you a particular level of success. However, that level of success has an expiration date. It has an expiration date. Now, I misspelled a word yesterday in my title. And somebody actually made a video. They made a video that the word was misspelled and that I should, what was that they said I should do? And then they said something about I before C, except after C. And I'm like, dude, a misspelled word is of concern. Okay. It's corrected. Now what? Now what? Sometimes when we are moving fast, haste makes waste. But can it be corrected? Yes, it can be corrected. I appreciate the person that sent me a comment and said, check your word, because I didn't proofread it before I put it up. Because I was in my feelings. And let me say that for that moment, I was in my feelings because I allowed someone else to control at that point by what they did, how I felt. But I'm grateful for how the Spirit of God worked yesterday, because it brought me back to myself. We are human, we're not divine. We're subject to errors. And that's not an excuse, that's a fact. That's not an excuse, that's a fact. But getting back to this, I have observed the ignorance, the greed, and the selfishness, and it sounds like it's going to pour down rain in a moment. I have witnessed that here on YouTube amongst our own people. And it's concerning. However, it is what it is. It is what it is. There is so much that is available to us at this point of our existence. In 2019, in the information age, there is so much that is available to us that we can learn from, that we can use to better ourselves and dispel, if you will, or conquer ignorance. Ignorance is just not to know. It's just that I don't know. But now when you willingly don't want to know, that's a different subject. But in the information age, there is so much that we can do to better ourselves and create or shift the paradigm that has been set for us. And believe me, there is a parallel to this man's statement. There is a parallel to the Willie Lynch letter. And what Willie Lynch suggested or shared that will help slave masters keep their slaves in line and maintain a control over their slaves. It is to create a mentality that we are helpless. We are dependent and not independent. That we need someone to control us. We need someone to guide us. Each and every one of us are born. Listen, let me tell you something. For all of the Bible believers, and I'm sorry, because some people don't believe, or don't follow the Bible. Let's put it that way. However, the principle is applicable in whatever you believe. In the beginning, when God made man, he breathed the breath of life. That breath that he breathed into man was his own essence. Let me say that again. The breath that God breathed into man after he had made man in his own image and his likeness. Again, in his image and his likeness. Out. One more time. In his image and his likeness, he then breathed the breath of life, which is the essence of God. So not only are you created in his image, fashioned in a likeness of the Creator, but he also gave you his own very essence. The breath is the spirit of the Creator. That essence is his breath. So listen to this, and I want everybody to get this. And please, please review this over and over in your mind and let it get into your spirit. You are divine because you have the divine essence of God inside of you. There is a direct connection between you and the Creator, between you and the universe. There is a direct, let me say this again, there is a direct connection. There is a direct connection, which means you don't have to go through anyone to connect with the Creator. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. Yeah, it's going to storm in a minute. You don't have to ask anyone's permission to connect with the Creator. And here's one other thing for you that I hope helps you. You don't have to use anyone else's roadmap or instruction manual to connect with the Creator and the universe, because it's already in you. It is already in you. That connection is already there. It's already there. You just have to realize it and activate it. And it is not difficult. It is not difficult at all to connect with the universe, with the Creator. I used to hear people say, "Ooh, child, I know when it's going to rain because my knee starts to hurt." And it rained. You are connected. And just like you are connected with the universe and with the Creator, because each of us have that essence, because each of us have that spirit, because each of us have the life that God breathed in us, which is Him, we are all connected. So what you do to me, you've already done it to yourself. What I do to you, I have already done to myself. Here's an example. You have verbal interaction with someone, and you not curse them out, but cuss them out. And to cuss a person out, you don't have to use profane language, but you let them have it. And it feels good for that one moment. But then when you think about it, or as 15, 20 minutes, an hour passes, you begin to feel discomfort, if you will. You feel bad that you did that. It is because you are connected to the person that you cussed out. You're connected to that individual by spirit. So you feel just as bad as they do. And in that example, or in that situation, who wins? Who is the winner? Who is the proverbial better individual? Am I the better individual because I seem to have the upper hand by checking you, by cussing you out? No, because if I cuss you out, I'm cussing me out. Now, having a conversation and speaking from the experience that you experienced in whatever they did is a whole different story. It's totally different. I can let you know how I experienced that particular experience, which is my experience. So you cannot tell another person how they experienced the experience. You can only share what you experienced in that moment. So in the cussing situation, no one wins ultimately, because hurting you hurts me. Hurting me hurts you. Now, last week I spoke on boundaries. Just because I let you know that you are crossing a boundary that I have, it's not cussing you out, it's not disrespecting you. It's not getting in my feelings or trying to get in your feelings. It is just that these parameters, these boundaries have to be made known, because how will you know if I don't enlighten you? If I don't share the knowledge with you, how will you have that knowledge? You'll be ignorant. You won't know. Greed, as he talked about in his statement, greed. Yours is mine and mine is mine. What's mine is mine and what yours is mine. I don't see any reason to share. I want it all because it makes me feel good. It makes me on another level. It makes me better than. So I amass and achieve a lot of stuff. And at the same time, what we tend to, what we tend to miss or tend to neglect is that we're empty inside. Although we've amassed a lot of stuff, we're empty. Because the greed is not a relationship, it is not an interaction. Ignorance, greed, and selfishness. I only share when it promotes me. I only give when it brings me notoriety. I'm condescending. I look down on you because you have not achieved what I have achieved. And I'm going to say this, sometimes people will be in that particular situation and not realize that that's what they're doing. If you don't have what I have or better, we can't hang out. Okay. But what profit a man to fulfill every dream that he's ever had and lose the core of who he is? And when I say man, I'm talking about, not talking about anybody specific. I'm speaking of man in the whole creation. And then what can you give in exchange for your soul, for the very essence of you? What can you give in exchange? There's nothing worth it, at least from where I sit. And it is raining. There is nothing that I can gain that is more valuable than who I am. There's nothing more valuable that you could gain than who you are. You are a valuable asset, first to yourself and then to the people with whom you relate, with whom you come in contact with. You are of great value, great value. And there's nothing that is worth the value that is in you. So let's stop first devaluing ourselves, and then let us stop devaluing each other. We cannot make changes alone. We cannot make change alone. We cannot make changes by allowing our differences to be the issue. If we continue this path, and let me say something about this particular article. Ooh. This particular article is dated September 20th, 2011. September 20th, 2011 is the date of this email. What advancement have we made? What progress have we made since 2011 at 2019? Has the cycle changed or has it remained the same? It appears in my observation that it has more or less remained the same. The mentality that I have observed has basically been the same or has even gotten worse. Yeah, we've achieved a couple of things individually. We've achieved a little more comfort, and in some aspects, some of us have achieved a little more education. But collectively, how many of us are reaching back or reaching down selflessly to help someone, to be the example that others as a group together? Remember, it gave you the word team. As an acronym. Together, each achieves more. Together, each of us can achieve more. If we work together, we can achieve more. I said this before, I said it again. This YouTube is a great tool. It's a great tool. But if we use it to tear each other down, if we use it to rip each other to shreds, it reminds me, and I was, as I was sitting there last night, and again, I tried to get some rest, I tried to sleep, but it was a little difficult because there was so much going on in my mind. It reminds me of the Roman amphitheater and the fights to the death, where two individuals were put in the ring, so to speak, and they would fight to the death, shredding each other apart, mutilating each other. In my observation, this is what I see happening here. In a lot of instances, this is what I see. We just go after each other and we try to get information to shred or beat that person to a pulp, beat them down, kill their influence, kill their aspirations, kill their purpose, to make ourselves more powerful on YouTube. Amazing. That's not my intention on YouTube. That is not my purpose for being on YouTube. And I will say this, if I can't be a help to somebody, I refuse to be a hindrance. Let me say that again. If I cannot be a help to any individual on here, I refuse to be a hindrance. And in my practice and my behavior, I have tried my best to remain that type of individual. Anyone that I have interacted with, if I can't encourage you, if I can't share with you, if I can't assist you, if I can't enlighten you, I leave you alone. That's how I feel about the situation. That's my gift. My gift is enlightening and empowering people to be independent thinkers. I don't want you to think like I think. I don't want anybody following me blindly. Because then it becomes a cult. And it becomes all about control and manipulation, which is very visibly going on, not just on YouTube, but period. Even in business, we see it every day. And one thing I learned from my work experience is individuals, and take this, what I'm about to say, and observe, just observe the behaviors. Anyone who is out of control is always trying to control others. Anyone whose life, whose thought pattern, whose self-control, that anyone that don't have control of themselves like that in those areas, you will find that they feel the need to control other people, living vicariously through them, getting pleasure and getting a high off of controlling other people, because your life is completely out of control. In my experience, and again, I'm speaking from my experience, my professional experience. Develop the skills to control your life. Develop the skills to be an independent thinker. Tap into your essence and your discernment, and observe individuals that you are in relation with. And begin to recognize those who like to control because they're out of control. I have been friendly with people that are like that. And there are times when we would bump heads because I'm an independent thinker. I'm not easily manipulated or controlled by other people, what they think, what they say, and what they feel I should do. I like to think for myself and make my own decision. I like weighing stuff in the balance. I like weighing it in the balance. And then making my decision as to how I should move forward. It is not popular because everybody wants to be connected to a winner. Everybody wants to be seen with the popular. Everybody wants to be seen with the star. But when you are secure in who you don't have to be associated with someone big and out there, and in order to get shine, in order to get recognition. You get it by being who you are. You get it you get it by the life that you lead, by the example that you set, by the people that you enlighten, by the people that you assist, by the people that you help up, by the people that you share with, the people that you pour into to make them independent thinkers, or to cause them to be independent thinkers, giving them the tools. And no one ever have to give you accolades for it. But each time that person achieves, because you poured into them, you achieve. Because they're successful, because you poured into them, you're successful. And you're part of a testimony and part of a legacy. Each one of us are a reflection, when we look at it, of our ancestors. We've gained instruction from them that became the foundation of who we are. So when you see me, you see my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, and so on. Because I'm a reflection of what the ancestors have shared, that has been passed down. And it's the same principle when you share with other people, when you enlighten other people, when you invest in other people, not to be selfish, or selfish in the negative sense of the word, or not for greed, but just genuinely because they are connected to us. Because they're connected to us. We don't have to fight with each other. We don't have to tear each other down. We don't have to and it's amazing that and pay close attention to people that are in beefs and what they say. Most of these beefs that I have observed, it's not about a person's character. It's not about a person that that their behavior is not congruent with their word, but it comes down to how you look, where you do your videos from, your impediments. It becomes physical. We don't deal with the I want to say intellectual issues. We don't even deal with the issue at hand. We don't deal with a legitimate issue. We may use just a tidbit of the legitimate issue, and then we attack people's person, how you look, your skin problems, your eye, your limp. That is so unintelligent. That is so adolescent. And we who love or get our life from mess, we flock to those people, we subscribe to those people, and then when they get in beefs or misunderstandings with other people, we run over to those people that they have beefs and we attack them. Wow. But remember, we are all connected. What you do to me, you do to yourself. And what I do to me, I do, or what I do to you, I do to me. And what you do to you, or what you do to me, you do to you. Because we're all connected. (2019), we're in the 8th month of 2019, and believe me, it has gone by almost like a blur. People, when do we get it? When do we get it that we are wasting precious time that we can never redeem on the foolishness and not getting down to business? When? It's Danny Upkins. Yeah, it seems like, sometime when you look back, it seems like New Year's was just yesterday, a couple of weeks ago. But when do we get it? And I get that. I get that, Sean Bradley. I get that because so often just being quiet and not saying anything works better, because time has a tendency to prove uh, has a tendency to prove your position, has a tendency to prove the real mess and where the real mess is coming from. Absolutely. Don't fight for me. I'm capable of handling it myself. I think I'm very capable. However, why should I have to fight? What is it proving if I continue? And again, my situation, I do not consider it a fight. What I did was I communicated my experience. I communicated my experience and was attacked and disrespected because of my experience. And then it blew out of proportion because, number one, it was dismissed as if nothing was wrong. And that's okay. That's okay. Because if you feel like you didn't do anything wrong, that's fine. So again, at this point, point, like I sang the song at the beginning, at the very beginning of this live. Leave it alone because God can handle it. See, some people can sing a song, and this is not throwing any slight to anybody. Some people can sing a song just because they heard it and they know the words. But there's some of us that have an inner conviction because we know that we know that we know that if we let God handle it, it will be handled. It will be handled. So we just sit back and hold on to our peace. See, that's the important part. You have to hold on to your peace because your peace of mind should never be predicated on someone else. Your self-esteem should never be built by someone else. And again, with that statement, I pay homage to M. Bernadette because she brought that thing to light. I mean, she really broke it down. No one should hold the keys to your self-esteem but you. Because when they leave you, they take your self-esteem, they take your self-awareness, they take your power, and they leave with that. They leave with it. But when you build your self-esteem, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, as a matter of fact, building your self-esteem is not a one-time thing. It is an ongoing process because we change, our likes change. Experience has a way of changing how we view things. So your self-esteem is just like, if you will, the progression of age. It should continually be worked on. Your body should continually be worked on. It is a process. You continue to put beneficial nutrients into your body. The same thing with your self-esteem and your self-awareness. It is an ongoing process that never ends because people who are attractive, people who are smart, people who are of affluence, people who have money will always try to build your esteem, your self-esteem, so that when they leave, they can take it with them, and leave you vulnerable. But when you build your self-esteem on a continual process, trust me, no one can break you down. No one can tell you you are ugly and it hurts you or it stops you from progressing. No one can tell you to go to the dollar store and get a feather duster to dust your dusty books behind you on your screen and it affect you. Again, people will use what they see to get at the inside of you and to gain that control. But guard yourself. Remember, I said yesterday, there are particular portals that cause us to be manipulated and controlled. And that is the ears and the eyes. What we see affects us, and what we allow ourselves, or what we allow that we hear to enter our hearts. Smooth talk, a good player line, make you feel some kind of way, that means that you didn't guard your heart. And then further down the line, you're used and abused and then discarded. But when you guard your heart by guarding what you hear and what you see, people have a very difficult time getting to your heart. People have a very difficult time getting in to control you. This is why it is so important, remember, not to be ignorant, not to be greedy, and not to be selfish or self-indulgent. And that is not to say you don't enjoy your life, you don't spend the money that you make, but it means that you spend it wisely. You use it wisely. You connect yourself with people and programs that are sustaining. And you don't pay attention so much to the foolishness. It's and people put a guard on it or a label on it that it is entertainment. No, a lot of it is destruction. It is purposeful cutting people down just for the purpose of control, having a following, cultish behavior. We learn it from the church. A lot of us have learned that cultish behavior from what in America is called Christianity. And I know a lot of people going to get real upset with me right now, but it'll be all right. Because at the age I am now, when I look back when I was growing up in church, and there were some wonderful experiences in church, wonderful experiences. It was a great learning process, or it was a great foundation. However, when you become a man, you put away childish things. When you become a certain age or a certain come to a certain experience in life, you evaluate what is real from what is false, what is principle. Okay, you begin to learn what is principle and what is figment or opinion or someone else's ideology. Then you check your foundation. And if your foundation has to be relayed, dug up, broke up, and relayed, then that's what you begin to do. You begin to build your life on principle. Now, let me explain what principle is. Principle is like a recipe. Principle is like a recipe. If you follow the recipe, no matter where in the world you are, the right ingredients, the right utensils, the right tools, wherever you are in the world, you'll be able to bake the same cake. That is principle. Wherever you are, when you build your foundation upon principle, the principle will produce what it is intended to produce. It will produce that cake. It will produce that success. because you have a foundation of principle. But when you have a foundation on erroneous information, stories and fables, you're always up one minute and down the next minute, up this month and down the next month. You wind up hustling for the rest of your life just to stay afloat, not using the principle of hustling in the positive sense, but you hustle to stay afloat. There is always chaos. But when you build on principle, when you practice principle, your life doesn't have the same type of ups and downs. And you are prepared that when those down times come, you are prepared to go through it without a sweat, because you know that the principle works. And implemented, it is going to produce exactly what it is intended to produce. Because a principle is not something you use once. It is something you use time and time again, because it is proven by trial. It is proven over time. So, my brothers and my sisters, Designed by V. Boy, did I mess that up. I think I said Design by B. But anyway, Design by V, welcome. You know you're always welcome here. Hugs and kisses to you too, dear. Red Afro, good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. Now, let's begin to reevaluate ourselves and our position on the matter. And let us begin to team up. Not to go attacking anybody, not to be a cult. Not to be a cult. Why are you closing up on me? But with the principle. That's better. Let's join together in the principle of team. Together, each of us achieve more. TEAM. Together, each of us attain more. Or, together, each of us achieve more. Let's become a team. Let's help each other out. Good afternoon, Miss I'm getting all lip tied. That was more like lip tied. Miss I did it again. Miss Perspective Pat, good afternoon. Thank you for coming. Together, each achieves more. Let's begin to do that. Let me say this. One thing I appreciate about Designs by V is that her arms and hands are open. She shares. She gives, which is the principle of team. Because if I can help you, I'm going to help you. I'm not asking for anything in return, because the principles that I have implemented in my life have caused me to be abundantly blessed. They work. So I share my designs. I share the things and the places that I've been. From the position that I'm not sharing these to make you feel bad, but I'm sharing it to give you a glimpse that you can do the same thing. You can experience these. You can tap into yourself, to your creative ability. We all have it. Remember, I said that the essence of the Creator was breathed into us, which makes us divine. What in this context, that means that creator, create, creative, that spirit is already in you. People, we have in us everything that we need to fulfill our purpose. We have everything that we need within us to be a success. We have everything already within us that we need to have successful relationships. It's already inside of us, people. It's already there. We don't have to snatch somebody's wig off just to feel good about ourselves. Your feel good is actually in you already. Just tap into it. And thank God that it's there. It's not outside of you, it's inside of you. But check this out. If we all come together, and agree with a common goal, we achieve more. We achieve more. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I am saying. Between this statement and the Willie Lynch letter, that is not what we were purposed for. That's not what we were purposed for. That's not our purpose. We are creators. We are leaders. We are innovators. So many other races have copied what we do. We are the originals. Everything else is a copy. But all the day that we come together, the day that we allow ourselves to let go of ignorance and let go of greed and let go of selfishness, and we all come together, we can turn the atmosphere of this, let's just go with this country. We can turn it around. And everybody can benefit. Not the top 3%. But everybody can live. Everybody can be equal. And I may not see that in my lifetime. I'm convinced at this point, but it is happening. And that's what encourages me. What encourages me is that it is happening. It is happening. It is happening. It is happening. It is manifesting. Quite a few of us are beginning to take our place and get back where we belong. And the most important part of getting back where you belong is that relationship between you and your creator. And being obedient to what he has prescribed for us to do. It's not religion, it's relationship. Not religion, but relationship. Let me say it one more time. Not religion, but relationship. It's relationship. It's a partnership. Equal footing. Equal footing and restoration, restoring us back to where we belong. I appreciate everyone that has come into Wednesday Word. All of the great content creators that are here. China Doll, Designs by V, J. Dot, 1700. All, even the ones that I haven't called by name, I appreciate you all for being here and for blessing me with your presence. I'm not going to say that I hope I have said something in Wednesday Word that has motivated you, that has sparked you into action. Because within my spirit, I know that someone has gotten something from this. That is my goal. That is my goal. My goal is to trigger, to flip the switch that opens your mind and broadens your perspective. Looking at relationship not as a chore, but as a pleasure. Not as a chore, but as a pleasure. Not as hard work, but an interaction. Sharing and receiving ideas, observations, even opinions. For the purpose of walking in purpose. So again, I thank all of you that have come in, 6 of 7, who is also a content creator. Jill C, Sonia Swaby, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad that your spirit is lifted because that's what I'm here to do. Danny Upkins again, China Doll again. To Sean Bradley, thank you for dropping in. JLC 87 Productions, who is a content creator, thank you so much. Sometimes we say things and we're misunderstood and we don't get the opportunity to actually explain ourselves in the moment. But sometimes when you give it a little time. And under different circumstances, you communicate and you're able to express your purpose that was misunderstood. So my encouragement is, when you are interacting and when you are misunderstood, take a moment. Take a moment. Because sometimes it may not be the right time. Timing is very important. But when we come back on so many different occasions, outside of our feelings, when we leave our feelings to the side and we address the issue, and understanding is gotten at that point. Because everything is not as it appears to be all the time. Everything is not always as it appears. Again, I'm doing it again. Designed by V. I thank you. Eddie Peeler, you know you're always welcome. And I do thank all of you. Danny Upkins, thank you. China Doll, you know how I feel about you. And we're looking forward to you making your 1,000. Carla Tucker, thank you. Oh, thank you, Carla. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, San Francisco is in the room. Gamage Carter, thank you for being here. Bless you for being here. Wow. Ray Ellen, I'm always encouraged when I see you. I'm always encouraged when I see you. Red Afro, I appreciate you so much. And my vlog son, J.1700, you know how I feel about you. I appreciate you. I love what you do. Thank you. Maturish was here. I don't know if she's still here, but Maturish, I appreciate you both as an individual and as a content creator. You keep me encouraged and motivated. I thank you. All of you have been wonderful. And I feel like I'm rambling, but you can never express enough how much you appreciate individuals, because they don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to share with you. They don't have to pour into you. And they don't have to listen to you. So I appreciate it. Designed by V's channel is about home decor and fashion, about travel and cooking and more. Please stop by her channel. Go over there, support her. Listen, she makes almost everything she wears. She makes almost everything she wears. China Doll is an inspiration. She gives tidbits through the day to help you move from being stuck, from being sad, and she gives you the encouragement and the inspiration to say, I can't stay here because I know God is working it out. So let me move on towards the end of this, because I know at the end of this, there is victory. Again, China Doll, I appreciate your inspiration. Lady Karen, thank you and blessings to you. J. Dot is a master with doing cover songs that he rewrites the lyric, and in both comedy and I would say in a comedic way, but with a very important point of looking at yourself and looking in retrospectively and identifying you in what he does to get yourself together. Crazy 5,000, I always appreciate you. 6 of 7, you know how I feel about you. I appreciate all of you, all of you, all of you great people of God. I appreciate you. And when I say great people of God, I mean that, because all of us are people of God because he created us. So I thank you. Now, the rest of this day, implement some of the principles that you have heard, or at least begin to implement them in your life, and you will see that your life will become different. You will become more independent from the crowd. You'll be more independent from the crowd. And what the crowd does, you will find, does not dictate your relationships with God and your relationships with other people. You'll be an independent thinker. Now, from me straight to you, much love. More love than your mind can conceive. More love than your heart can feel. And more love than your hands could ever hold. I decree unto you love. Why? Because in love, every commandment is fulfilled. Love encompasses every commandment. So I decree unto you love, and have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Thank you. Again, to my moderators, I love you and I appreciate you all. Sonia Swaby, again, thank you for being here, Sonia Swaby. I appreciate Satin. You know how I feel about you. Love you much. Thank you all. And wonderful Wednesday and much love.